Many thanks for your company here. Now, in response to public concerns, government has suspended implementation of the controversial road safety fee until further notice. The concerns were raised following revelations by the Road Safety Commission that the tax will be implemented from July 1st for towing of vehicles. Critics disagree that the fee should be mandatory. Some called for better consultations before the legislation is implemented. First Deputy Speaker of Parliament and former CEO of the Driver Vehicle and Licensing Authority, Joseph Osei, defended the law, saying those criticizing it are looking at the issue from a parochial point of view.
Removing danger from the road. Anytime there's a disabled vehicle on the road, there's a risk to the life of every road user. So, if we don't focus on removing risk to the road, and we focus on how much will it cost, who is doing the work, we'll be missing the problem.
That has actually been the main argument, that those causing some of these incidents on the road should be the ones to bear the cost and not exactly make that the responsibility of anyone else, because the thinking is that the vehicle can be towed and these people can be surcharged for it rather than charging everyone else.
Okay, yes, it's my vehicle that has broken down. At the time the vehicle has broken down, I don't have money. And it will genuinely happen to many people. So if you leave it to them, the vehicles will not be towed, the disabled vehicles will not be towed, and you and I, other road users, our lives will be in danger. If I recall correctly, in 2011, every stakeholder was involved. All the driver unions in Koforidua. That's where we finalized the document. Sometimes we are just parochial. We look at we discuss the issues only from one side. What we're discussing is not your vehicle, it's the risk to road users. The problem is not the saloon cars or the 207s. They can even be pushed off the road. The problem is the heavily laden vehicles. I don't care who, as long as the person has the capacity. I know the name Zoom Lion evokes memories which are not pleasant. So it is likely to evoke emotions. But beyond that, if it is you who have the capacity to remove the vehicle from there, just join in and do it.
Deputy Roads and Highways Minister Titus Glover explained the holdback will enable Parliament fine-tune that particular contract to meet the concerns of different stakeholders.
Issue about lives that have been lost on a major road out of these broken down vehicles, it's something that should concern the Ministry of Transport led by my minister. So last week, my minister came out to tell the general public that he has asked the Road Safety Commission to put it on hold. Then today, formally, he has formalized it to say that they should put it on hold, to the fact that we realize that there has not been enough consultation with stakeholders with regards to this matter. And for that matter, we want to appeal and assure the general public there is much concern about their lives and their concern, and for that matter, road safety should go back and do the proper consultation with all stakeholders. The very people who most likely want to say, I say that, look, we are not comfortable on A, B, C, or D. Of course, as a minister who has a good listening here, he has listened to the crowd of people. It's a very brilliant policy. But let me go back and tell my agency to go back and engage the public and the users of the road so that there will be extensive consultation again, so that this time when it's coming back, everybody will be happy about it. They will be able to go and think from the same ship.
So what it is we are likely to see it reinstated after the consultations.
I think so. I think so, because the consultation has not been enough. Looking from our side, we think that a lot of things need to be done.
Well, the Data Commission released 177 companies who have defaulted. That is, they've not registered with the Data Commission according to what the Constitution or the Data Protection Act mandates. We'll have that conversation. But before that, the new Chief Justice, Sophia Akufo, has pledged to ensure quality justice delivery in the country. She's also promised to ensure total financial independence of the judiciary. She made the assurance after President Akufo-Addo swore her into office Monday afternoon.
The judiciary is indeed the bulwark of our democracy and the defender of the rule of law. A nation breaks down and descends into anarchy if its judicial system breaks down, and I will pursue measures to protect the integrity of the institution, shore up and elevate its image. In doing this, I will be counting on the support and cooperation of the other arms of government, which are headed by Your Excellency, Mr. President, and the Right Honorable Speaker. The judiciary has diligently worked for and obtained a large measure of independence. This is, however, made incomplete by the lack of financial independence, and that is an objective I would like to achieve during my tenure as Chief Justice.
Now, making good on her promise requires the concerted efforts and contributions of all persons involved in the process of justice delivery. A key group that works closely with her office is the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, JUSAG. JUSAG, since the time of appointment through vetting and swearing in, have taken keen interest in the outcome of all processes leading to the welcoming of the new Chief Justice. Topmost among concerns the association wants the Chief Justice to address are their poor working conditions. To what extent can she deliver on this expectation and all others? Mr. Alex Nate is my guest this morning for some thoughts on their work with, well, let's call her their new boss. Welcome, Mr. Nate.
Thank you.
And
Good
how
morning.
is JUSAG doing? Good morning to you.
We are doing well. We are playing our role as a union to ensure that the judicial service as an institution where we work is effective, as well as our conditions being, featured prominently.
So let's talk about the role of the Chief Justice. How does it tie into your work as judicial service?
The Chief Justice is the head of the judiciary and the judicial service, and for that matter, she is our boss. So that is how her role, features. And so we want to take this opportunity to congratulate her and assure her of our maximum support for her administration.
Great. Now, we've seen occasionally JUSAG declaring strike. Recently, when President Akufo-Addo was sworn in, you met with him to discuss the way forward in terms of your conditions of service and all matters arising. Do you think Madame Sophia Akufo is the person to deal with the poor working conditions of JUSAG?
You see, as you may have heard, she's one of the justices who, has served at the judicial service for over 2 decades. She's not a new person. She has a total appreciation of the challenges of the judicial service, including the conditions of service of the judicial service staff. And we think that she has what it takes to discharge in this regard.
Mr. Nate, we know you've mentioned, like you just said, the issue of working conditions of judicial staff as the topmost you'd want her to focus on. But what other things within the judicial system would you want her to prioritize?
We have not even said the conditions of service is the topmost.
Okay. Which is the topmost?
The judicial service as an organization where we serve must exist for us to have a place to work in order to have our conditions of service. So the general well-being of the judicial service as an institution is the topmost. And when you talk about that, it means that you need financial resources to fund its operations. And as we talk now, as at 2016, the judicial service is only allowed 15% of its internally generated funds to run its capital-intensive operations. This is inadequate. We heard towards the close of 2016 that the previous administration was contemplating increasing it to 30%. Still, the 30% is not adequate, because running the judicial service successfully to cater for the general needs of the people as enshrined in the 1992 Constitution requires a lot of resources. And so for her to be able to live up to expectation as we all expect her, government, as the president promised yesterday, needs to fully support her in the area of funding. And so JUSAG is of the view that the government needs to grant not less than 70% of internally generated fund to the judicial service. As we talk now, we have courts all over, but it's only in Accra and Kumasi that you see flashy buildings. We do not think that it should be so. The districts and what have you require, court structures that befit the nature of the work we do. In the Local Government Act, the district assemblies have a duty to ensure that the district courts have all the structures and the facilities for the judicial service. But it appears that they have relented and have not averted their minds to it. We look forward that the Honorable Lady Chief Justice sworn in yesterday will take this issue up so that both the executive and the local authorities will work together with the judiciary to ensure that we enhance and improve upon the infrastructure of the judicial service nationwide, the work environment in which the judicial service staff work. Some of the buildings in which we work are dilapidated. Some are more or less even a trap, a death trap, sort of. And so we need to take a close look at all these things. Judicial Service Staff Association is ready to bring to bear all these issues to the attention of the relevant authorities and bring our skills to bear to help them, bring the image of the judicial service to this level so that we all can be comfortable and serve our people.
All right, Mr. Nata, let's talk about timelines, because it's easy to say we want this, we want that. But what's your expectation? Within what period are you expecting to see, if not the full implementation of what you're talking about, 70% of your IGF, then you're looking at processes to get to that point? What's your timeline?
You see, the new CJ has, principally about 2 or a little above 2 years in office, and we look forward that within this tenure, all these key issues will be achieved. In fact, when you are running a country and a capital-intensive organization such as the Judicial Service, you need to be objective in your assessment and demands on the authorities. Okay, but we are of the view that agreeing to allow the Judicial Service to retain 70 to 80% of its internally generated fund should be done within a quarter.
Within a quarter of her tenure.
Of her tenure. It's not anything difficult. We all know that a judicial service requires a lot of things to work with, and they are non-existent. And so if we generate revenue on a daily basis, and we need 70 to 80%, or if possible, 100% retention, that shouldn't be something that we should struggle over.
Okay.
We must all agree, and within the shortest possible time, we should agree and take a decision on that. And that will go a very long way to make the new Chief Justice very, very efficient, because we know that she's hardworking and understands the issues. And so with resources at her disposal, she'll be able to deliver.
Interesting. Now, you mentioned that you want her to focus on the general well-being of judicial work here in Ghana. What would you want her to discourage? You know what happens within the judicial system. Anything that you'd want her to maybe take up as a project to say, by the time I leave office, this shouldn't be seen anywhere where the judiciary works in this country?
What I will thank God for at her exit is to see everybody in Ghana thanking God for the judiciary because we have become very efficient and professional in the delivery of our work. We look forward that unnecessary delays are a thing of the past, that all staff are given the needed training and have become, efficient and effective, such that no user of the court meets any of our workers and regrets meeting the person. I think that is the only thing that we can all pride ourselves with, that we will deliver our services at the highest speed possible so that everybody who requires access to justice will be satisfied.
Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Nate. But we haven't heard JUSAG comment on the tenure of the former Chief Justice, Madam Georgina Theodora Wood, almost a decade.
Yes, she is indeed the longest serving CJ ever, and we thank God for her life. She is a hard-working woman, somebody who loved her work. One thing I will forever remember her for is the fact that she reported for work as a subordinate to somebody. She did not play with her time. She was always available. She comes early and closes late, and does not even take delight in taking holidays. This is an example that we all must emulate.
Thank you very much for your time. Mr. Alex Nate is the president, national president of the Judicial Services Staff Association of Ghana, JUSAG, and he's been telling us, well, their expectations of the new Chief Justice, Madame Sophia Akuffo, and well, hopefully, he says, by the end of a tenure, they hope to see that the issue of unnecessary delays in the judicial system is a thing of the past, and also that all judicial staff will receive the needed training for efficiency. Thank you very much, sir, for your time this morning.